John Kefalas, Larimer County Commissioner, District 1. My goal is to present the annual community report to you, just some highlights, and if time allows, to certainly answer any questions. The three commissioners, we've been visiting with various municipalities and towns to present this report, and this is my third presentation. I've been to Timnath and the town of Wellington, and now I'm very happy to be with you folks tonight. One thing I want to mention about the report is that it's done every year, but this is actually the first year that we have the report in Spanish, Informe de la Comunidad. So I'm really happy that we're moving in that direction. The report is available in English and in Spanish. We have hard copies as well as digital copies, or people can access from the website. So with that said, the report attempts to summarize some of the achievements, some of the highlights of what we've accomplished as a county, as county government. It's organized in terms of the 5 overall service areas. The first one being community planning, infrastructure, and resources. And again, I'm not going to go through all the details here because you have it in front of you. You have a chance to read it. But there we have, building inspection, land use planning, et cetera. But, in terms of the intersection of county and city, certainly the work that we're doing with regard to our collaboration on open space and trails and parks, and as well as the solid waste management, the landfill work. And then, of course, we're making good progress regarding the implementing the ranch master plan. So that's the first service area, community planning, infrastructure, and resources. And you can see some of the accomplishments in the report. Some successes about recycling, our natural resources, and certainly the collaborative work that we've tried to do regarding the solid waste work, the Northern Colorado Watershed Coalition. The next area is public records, information, and services. And of course, within that area, we have the clerk and recorder, who I think overall did an excellent job with regard to the recent elections. We had a tremendous turnout, and I think there were something like 700 election judges. And so that's certainly one of the responsibilities of the Larimer County Clerk and Recorder. You can see some of the other achievements and responsibilities. As well, there is the Treasurer's Office and the Assessor's Office. Thirdly, third service area is strategic leadership and administrative services. That is our budget department, human resources, facilities, information technology, et cetera. And if you look at the pie graph, you can see that our operating budget for this year was about $289 million. In 2021, the budget that we will adopt, our operating budget, will be $2 million less. And primarily that's because of savings we've had in our healthcare costs. But the budget team works very hard. We had to make some adjustments to the 2020 budget in light of using some general fund balance dollars to help with Cameron Peak fire recovery efforts and some other issues that have come up where we're trying to play a greater role in areas like childcare, affordable housing, and perhaps we might be looking at post-secondary scholarships and support for people. So strategic leadership and administrative services. One thing I'll highlight really quickly is you may have seen the Coloradoan article today, and one of the successes I think is the article referencing our work on the broadband strategic initiative, and there we were able to partner with Front Range Internet and invest I think about $100,000 from our coronavirus relief fund to help with expanding access to high-speed internet. And we've targeted a mobile home park community, manufactured housing community, Cloverleaf, and we've done a really great partnership in terms of infrastructure with Front Range Internet. The fourth area that I'd like to highlight, of course, is public safety, and that's everything from the Office of Emergency Management to the Sheriff's Office, law enforcement, and certainly things like alternative sentencing, community corrections, the coroner's office. We have a new office, of course. If you want an uplifting experience, you could just visit out to the coroner's office. And then, of course, the work we've done with the district attorney in terms of redirecting people from incarceration in addition to some of the other things. So that's public safety. And then I think the last area is human and economic health services. And of course, within that is Health and Environment Department. And they're the ones on the front line with the COVID-19 response. Our behavioral health services are also in that service area, Economic and Workforce Development Center, Extension, and certainly our veteran services. On the matter of the behavioral health, I think folks know that our plan is to have some kind of, it might be a virtual groundbreaking in December regarding the behavioral health facility. And then also there'll be a groundbreaking for the transfer station, regarding our solid waste efforts. So I think I'll stop there. I don't know if folks have any questions on any of these areas. You can read the report. Hopefully you can share it. I think it's a great way to get the word out that, county government, this is how we're organized, and these are some of the services that we provide. And overall, I think we give a good value for the taxpayer dollars. And these are really, really mega challenging times, no doubt.
Do you have any idea why it was that we, it seems like maybe prematurely pulled that emergency hospital setup that we had over at the ranch?
Sure, I can speak to that. And that was decommissioned at the end of October. November 1st, it was closed. That was basically a decision on the part of the state. The alternative care site that was established there, they were paying a lease, a dollar amount, but ultimately they determined that with the other alternative care sites that exist around the state, that this one could be decommissioned and brought back to its original purposes. During the time that it was set up as an alternative care site, primarily it provided a space for firefighters, wildland firefighters, but ultimately it was a decision by the state, and we didn't have a whole lot of say in the matter.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that.
At the end of the report, you said you also included a survey. I'm just wondering when the survey results will be released, and then will you also do a report for those results?
Thanks, Emily. I appreciate that. And thank you for bringing that up. I forgot to mention that. So we do this online community survey. So I think it closes December 3rd, and we will compile the results. Michelle Bird in our shop does that. I don't know how long that takes, but once we have those results, we'll certainly make them available to the public.
Thanks, Commissioner Kefalas, for coming and sharing these this information. One of the questions I had is you brought up a little bit about working on childcare and housing more, and can you just briefly describe some of the efforts that you're doing to work on those two issues, knowing that those are big issues even before COVID, and especially since COVID hit, that those are pretty big issues in our community?
As you know, Kristen and others, we have this 5-year strategic plan. We have 3 overarching goals. The one goal that I'm more directly responsible for is this idea of economic opportunity for all and community well-being and resiliency. And within there are 4 objectives. One of them deals with childcare. One of them deals with housing. One of them deals with workforce development, especially helping to people with disabilities, intellectual developmental disabilities, to find meaningful employment. And then there's a community mapping portion of that. To answer your question, an example of the way that the county, certainly our coronavirus relief funds, we had $15.3 million. I think $2.4 million went to quote essential supports, community supports and services, and a chunk of that money went for childcare. But in the long term, recently we made a decision to set aside general fund balance dollars, and $3 million we have set aside. And we still have a lot more details to work out, but $3 million from our reserves have been set aside for childcare. And in particular, we're exploring the possibility of purchasing there are 2 childcare facilities in Fort Collins, Little Bear, I believe it's called, one on the west side of town and one on Riverside. They have shut down, I think even prior to the COVID. And so we're looking at possibly buying that property with all the equipment and then contracting out to a childcare, a vendor, someone who could provide services, and making childcare slots available in the community, but also looking at county employees and how we can make some of those childcare slots available to county employees, thereby freeing up. So that's one example there. And on the housing front, we've also set aside money. We're still trying to figure out, exactly what might be the most effective ways to use those dollars. But part of the strategic plan is we contracted with a company in Denver called Root Policy or something, and they've actually been doing a needs analysis, and we'll have the results of that needs analysis in January, and that will help inform how we might invest these general fund dollars, reserve dollars, in housing. But one example of a partnership with the city and with the Fort Collins DDA, as Susan knows, and certainly Housing Catalyst, is we were able to allocate our private activity bonds just like the city did, and it was a tremendous partnership that's going to result in, I think it's 96 rental apartments, for folks living in the Old Town area. I think that's a big deal. So there's lots of ways. We're open to suggestions. We're revitalizing the Larimer County Housing Authority. We put more money into what's called the Larimer, I think it's called the Larimer Home Improvement Program. And so there are dollars there to help people upgrade their homes, to make them more energy efficient, things like that. I'll stop there. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
John, thank you for being here with us. And also, I'd be remiss on behalf of council, we want to thank Public Health Director Tom Gonzalez and the working relationship that we have with him. And during these times, I really think he's trying to do the best thing given all the challenges economically and health-wise and so forth. So we just want to share our support for Tom, and glad that you're here to give the community report.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'll certainly pass that along to Tom Gonzalez.